Welcome to the tips and tricks video where we will cover everything around the engine system of the HPH TwinShark. We will start with the SDU, with the engine control unit. We will cover how to refuel the tank and also make the daily check of the engine system. Let's get started. First of all, we switch on the engine unit here. Take care that the ignition is still off. Let me give you an overview of the SDU, the engine control unit.
First of all, we need to check in the lower left corner the voltage of the starter battery, which is 15.9 volts. The recommendation is to charge the battery before the flight if it's less than 16.0 volts. In the TwinShark, a lithium-ion battery with a 4S 4P configuration is used to deploy the pylon and start the engine. These batteries do not have a balancer. Therefore, never use the battery balancing function when charging, as it will damage the battery. Then here on the lower right-hand corner we have the voltage of the battery for the control devices. 13.3 volts is fine.
Then we have here the fuselage tank. We have 22 liters now in the tank. There's no wing tank available at the TwinShark. Then we have here the temperature of the cooling liquid. It is 16 degrees Celsius. Here in the upper right hand corner you see that we are now in the automatic mode. Then you use this switch here, the ignition switch, to put out the motor and to retract it, and everything is automatically. The other option is if you use this button here for the manual mode, but then you need to completely retract the engine to get back into the automatic mode. So once you use this switch here, it is in the manual mode and you need to do everything manually. Then we have here this rotary encoder with a push button. It's rotated. Here we can see any errors and warnings. They are here locked. And then we have here the service menu where we can refill the fuselage tank. So there's a fuel pump installed. We can press here and then press here again, and the refilling pump is running. Let's turn it off now again. Then rotate again to we're in the main menu. Here on top we have the fire alarm test, which we also need to check. It is working, so everything is fine. My tip of the day: use a fuel canister where you can see the fuel level. So if it is completely black, you can't see anything, but that's really handy. Here in the luggage compartment, you will find this fuel line here for refilling. And then we need this hose here, which we connect. And then we have our fuel tank. And then we will put this end here into the fuel canister. Then we start here the fueling pump in the SDU. Refill fuselage tank from extern on. Now it is starting to refuel. At the beginning it helps to put this fuel tank higher so the fuel will flow out here and the air can get through the pump quickly, so it will start, and then later on you can just put it here on the floor. There's an automatic detection when the fuel tank is full, but of course it helps as well if you check here the fuel indicator on the side. And then one trick for the end: in this fuel hose you will still have fuel, and to store this hose it is better to get rid of the fuel, so you will hold this hose here really high up there, and then there's a manual switch to switch on the fuel pump, and then the remaining fuel will go out here. You stop the fuel pump again, and then we will unplug here the hose, store this in a plastic bag, and it is highly recommended to take this fuel hose here with you in the glider, and also to have some oil with you as spare, so that if you make an outlanding somewhere at an airfield, you can just refuel, get a canister somewhere, go to the fuel station and refuel. Let's continue with the daily inspection of the engine itself. Therefore, the safety is really important. There are two safety measures here which you can use. First of all, apply the propeller stop, because if the propeller stop is applied, then the engine won't turn on automatically. So this is one tip which is really recommended. We won't apply the stop completely because otherwise we can't rotate the propeller later on, so we just apply it slightly so that the end stop is not detecting that it is open. Then the second thing is the ignition must be switched off here. And then we use the manual mode to open the engine doors. For an easy inspection of all mechanical components here, we only extend the engine pylon at the beginning by 30 to 40 degrees so that the propeller can rotate here and don't damage the engine doors. Also, the propeller stop is not applied. And then we start here from the front, go through everything, and then we extend the engine completely, and then we extend the engine pylon completely at the end. So let's start here at the front side. We have a closer look at all the mechanical parts here, at all the nuts and locks. We have a closer look here at the starter.
One tip on the starter: regularly lubricate the mechanism that disconnects the small gear from the gear rack. 2 drops of ballistol gun oil every month is ideal.
Then we have a look here at the belt, at the propeller stop.
The rubber that returns the prop stop out of the propeller rotation is a high quality braided silicone rubber. Never use cheap replacements here and use original spare parts. Check the prescribed tension of the toothed V-belt. Check the freedom of movement of the 4 pulleys that support the toothed V-belt.
Also the bolts are in here. Then down here we can see an orange light for the sensor that detects that the propeller is here in the correct position to extend and to retract the propeller. There are 2 magnets on each side, so it can be 100 degrees rotated, and then switch should be fine as well. Of course, we also check the propeller for any damage. We check here the bolts, they are secured. We check here all the screws as well. Then this wire here is also attached, working properly. This exhaust is also moving free. There are no other parts in here. There's no water in here. There's no liquid in here, cooling liquid or oil. And then we can extend the engine completely. This is the safety wire here, that should be fine. Then we have here the radiator. There are no air bubbles in this line here. All the connectors, all the hoses are secured everywhere. Then we check here the plugs, the globe plugs, they are installed. We also have a look at the air filters here. They may be broken at some point somewhere here, so have a look that they are safely secured. And also have a look that they are not dirty or with a lot of oil. Otherwise you need to clean them before flying. And then we have here one more end switch, and you get a message at the SDU, and I need to confirm this one now. Also check here all the wires that they are routed and secured properly. Then here we have the temperature sensor, and of course here the gas Bowden wire, and all these small screws are also secured. You should also check here the hinges for the engine doors, that there is everything connected and okay, that the front is not damaged by the propeller. Now we pump about 4 times a little bit of fuel into the engine here, into the carburetors, and then we will manually rotate the propeller. Be really, really careful. even if the ignition is off, it's a 2-stroke engine and it can immediately start. So absolutely don't put your head somewhere here. Be aware of everything when rotating, do it slowly. And then we listen to all the noises here. We listen to some metallic noises which should not be there. We can also hear a little bit here on the exhaust if everything sounds good. And yeah, then we're good to go. So everything sounds great here. We are now ready to retract the motor pylon again. And my recommendation is to retract the motor pylon again before you start, so that there's a warning. If you want to start, the motor will slowly extend. Everyone around here is aware of the motor, that it may start soon. Otherwise, it can be dangerous if you don't look back, if you are not completely sure if there's anyone around standing here looking at the engine, and then you start the motor and there is no warning at all. So it is really a safety thing to keep the engine pylon retracted until you definitely want to start. And it's also better for all the rubber parts and so on if there's no UV light and no heat coming to all the black parts here. So it is better and more reliable if you store your engine here in the fuselage. Ready to go. I hope this video helps you to safely operate your glider. For more videos, check out the YouTube channel of HPH. Thanks for watching and see you next time.